Welcome to Drum Chat Hang, episode 4. Today, my guest will be Ben Sesar. I'm just going to let this roll a little bit and populate the chat a little bit, and we'll be getting underway shortly. Hey, everybody. I'm Jeff Towers, and welcome to Drum Chat Hang, episode 4. Uh, this is the fourth installment. It's really taken off. I've got a lot of great things coming up. A lot of great things have popped up in the last little while. Again, this is only the fourth one. Things are really heating up. And today I'm really excited. I have a guest that I've respected for a very long time, watching him play and his motivational speaking and that kind of stuff. And really, there isn't that many people out there that I really feel that strongly about. So, uh, and that is Ben Sesar of Brad Paisley's band. And yeah, I'm going to bring him in pretty quick here. Uh, yeah, just a little update. I'm going to start doing them a little bit further between here rather than doing them every week. I'm going to try to spread it out a little bit, thinking maybe every second week just to get more of the word out and get more of the hype going. I've been sharing all of them to my YouTube page, and you can follow me there. If you just search the hashtag Drum Chat Hang, you'll find the videos right on YouTube, and you'll find a link right to my page. So, again, thanks for all the support and checking this out. And I think it's time to bring Ben in. I'm going to try to do that right now. All right, it says adding.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
Oh, I hear you. This is good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
All right. Boy, this is nice. I just get to sit in my house and do this.
You know that's the best part about it.
Absolutely.
I've got some sort of radio. Just turn that on.
Sure.
Better?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay, let's go. There's a bit of a lag. That's all right.
Yeah. No worries.
So, what have you been up to?
Well, we've been off of a major tour since September. Normally we do a winter run. Actually, up in Canada, that's when we would go up there. And this time we opted not to do that. We're recording a record, so we're focusing on that. And it's probably been 20 years since we actually took a winter off. So maybe it was just, hey, let's have the winter off this time. So musically, we've just been recording, and now we're starting back. We're doing a couple one-offs, and then we're gearing up in May to do the big tour. So yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw you was, I think, the last time you were up playing here in Calgary.
Oh gosh, how long ago would that have been?
That would have been July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, July.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I don't know.
I'm still getting a little bit of the radio. I'm just going to start this real quick, okay?
Okay.
know if that's any better. No, it's still there.
Seems good to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be just on my end.
Let me check something real quick. Hold on.
Oh, you know what?
What?
You're coming in. So I don't know what's going on here.
Technology, you gotta love it. Oh, you froze. Oh,
How's that?
it's better.
All right. Sweet.
Yeah, there we go. It's better.
All right.
Perfect.
Sorry about that, people.
Hey, no problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Again, this is like DIY guerrilla stuff. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
there's always hiccups here and there. We just have to deal with it and move forward.
And I'm not the most technologically savvy person. You know, you had to, just so people know, he had to like coach me through this whole thing. It's a miracle we're even, it's happening. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, it takes a little bit, but I mean, when you got an idea and you want to run with it, and you're impatient and don't want to bother with doing it exactly perfect, because nothing is ever great when you do it too much to make it perfect.
Absolutely. Tell me about it.
You got to do it from the hip.
Yeah.
Shoot from the hip like the old days,
I
you know?
stopped trying to be perfect a long time ago. Gosh, before cell phones.
Perfect is boring.
Absolutely.
I like things a little bit loose, a little bit out of control.
Yeah, and even a little ugly. Sure.
Sometimes, yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh boy.
All right,
my
so you're
friends
doing.
What's that?
I see you've been doing some new things here with painting.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I'm in a like a tear with that. I can't get enough of it. I'm obsessed. I've always liked to have things to tinker with, but I need at this stage of my life things to tinker with that aren't musically related. I get so much of that, and I know this is probably hard for a lot of people to understand, but I've done it so much, and I love it. But in order to even fuel music, I need to think and do and act on other things that aren't music related. And you know, I got a house on the river in July, and that's given me a lot of projects. And you know, I've tried to get my personal life in order to some success, to some failure. And I have always wanted to dabble with painting. You know, I'm in a place now where I've got a lot of time, and I've learned some techniques, and now I get to go to. I've always loved art stores too, even though I couldn't do anything. Just looking at the paint and the canvas.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, it just looks like fun toys to play with. So,
absolutely.
Not unlike going to a drum store, right? You know, it's
actually really similar when you really think about it. It is very similar.
Yeah, it's like a toy store. So, now that I can do some things, the art store has exploded in you know, to me, where it's like all of the possibilities, and I can't get enough, and I just spend hours experimenting. You know, I've scrubbed more canvases than I've finished. You know, so it's really good. It's really it's just been great, you know. So I appreciate everybody kind of bearing with me, as like that's all I've put forward in the last week and a half, you know. So
I'm thinking you maybe channeled Bob Ross or something going on here.
Maybe, you know, he's got more of an impressionist thing where he can actually paint things like trees and
you
know, and
puffy clouds.
Yeah, and I just have happy little explosions, you know. So
that's cool though. That's really cool.
And lines and things and colors. So yeah, it's a great I don't know if I'm any good or not, but I'm gonna put it out there anyway. I've enjoyed the way it's turned out so far, so we'll see, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people when they're thinking about music and when they're writing music, they think in colors.
Mm-hmm.
Are you finding a parallel there?
Yeah, actually there is. Well, the process is sort of the same. I think your process is your process, and what you apply that to is variable. But I think the way you approach learning anything or creating anything is probably the same no matter what you're doing. So I do notice that my experimenting with colors and techniques is very similar to the way I would go about rhythms. Yeah.
Right.
And so
that's cool.
Yeah, it is a similar it is definitely my mind on the canvas, to some degree. I hate to sound pretentious like that, but there's truth to that.
It's like it's just coming out.
Yeah. So, and it's and I'm not
That's
inhibiting
awesome.
any of the. I'm not like, I'm not really second guessing anything. I'm kind of just, and the same thing with music. I mean, when I was younger, I used to question everything I did. Is it good? Yeah. Is it worth merit? Is it shit? Is it whatever? You know what I mean? Is it, so, and now I don't do that at all. It is what it is. If it's great, it's great. If it's garbage, that's okay too. I don't get bent about that. And so it's same thing with the painting,
right.
I'm not like harshly critical. If I don't like it, I can just wash the canvas off. It's great.
There you go. Like a reset.
Yeah.
Kind of like rewinding the old tape and deleting.
Yeah. But I'm not thinking about it as I'm doing it so much, other than just
awesome.
having fun like a child.
That's incredible. Like, how did that come about? Like, you were just like one day, just like, I want to paint.
It's been festering. It's been festering for a long. I also cook too, so food is another. So I hate posting pictures of food because it's torture. Whenever I'm watching like a cooking show and they're showing you the food and they're all just eyes are rolling and they're collapsing in ecstasy because it tastes so good, and I'm sitting there on my TV.
You're going, damn it, I can't even smell it.
So I try not to post it, but cooking is another avenue. But I don't see. So the thing is, I don't cook for myself.
Right.
So I'm only ever cooking if there's company or a loved one or something like that.
That's a hugely common thing.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I can't cook with crap. I can put a half-ass effort if somebody else is there, but I do it once and then they want to do the cooking from then on.
Right.
It's almost like an in-game plan.
Yeah. Well, and I grew up with.
You're not good at
it. There were chefs in the family, so it was hard to avoid it.
Oh yeah, and, that's competition, and yeah.
And it was also my day gig while I was trying to get music together.
That's a common thing too. Yeah, working in kitchens and whatnot.
Yeah,
that's super common.
Yeah, because you can lie
my bass player in my punk rock band is a chef.
What's that?
It's very common. I play in a punk rock band, and my bass player is a chef.
Right.
And pretty accomplished one, and he makes his own hot sauces, the whole bit.
Yeah.
And like I can't wrap my head around it, but he's like, oh yeah, you just go to the store and buy this, this, and this, and then boom.
Yeah, it's a very organic
I can't do it.
Process. Again, playing with once you instinctively know how flavors work, and how temperature and heat work, and so I could never bake, right? Because baking is too finite. You can't noodle with baking. It's
no.
Once you put the ingredients together and throw it in the oven, it's just you're leaving it to chance.
Yeah.
Whether it comes out.
Yeah, you can't fix it halfway through.
Right. So you can't,
That's so true.
Mold it into whatever it is. It's just, chemistry and hope for the best. But there is artistic. Trust. I mean, obviously that's an art form. It's just not one that I know how to do.
Oh yeah. I don't know very many people that are super awesome bakers, but the ones that I do know that are good, I try to keep them as close as possible. It's probably why I'm rather portly.
Husky, come on.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, having done like tons of production gigs and whatnot, the Brad Paisley camp always has the best catering in the industry.
So you've had it?
Hands down. Oh yeah, lots.
Okay.
Lots and lots. Because they do touring cater situations for other companies too, right? So Dega, that's the name of the company. unbelievable. And every single crew they have is amazing.
Yeah.
Like mind-blowing cookers, bakers, the works. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's one of the best food out there.
We definitely you know, we eat well. It's easy. It's you know, it's not no one starves on our tour, you know. No one goes hungry.
No.
And it
Yeah.
makes it challenging because yeah, you know, if you're trying to you know, I try to maintain a certain weight, but which is it's a challenge out there because the food is so good. So you know.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, because everything's always there all the time.
Yep.
It's always an option. There's the kitchen is never closed.
Right, and then to make it worse, when it does close, they throw food on the bus. Afterwards, and then that's just, oh man, and I'm so ravenously hungry after a show. You know, it's almost like I can't even think till I stuff my face. You know, and people want to talk, and it's just like, wait, hey, let me eat these 5 hamburgers real quick, and then we can have a great.
And then come back.
Yeah.
Get that hangry feeling.
Right.
That everybody talks about. Crazy.
Yeah.
So I see you changed drum companies again. So
oh boy.
You were with Ludwig and then left, and then now you're back.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. Yeah.
How did that all come down?
All right, I'll have to try to come up with an abbreviated version of this.
Naturally.
Well, this has to do with a lot of it was just the tastes and sort of the kind of sounds. This was a collaborative effort with me and Brad.
Okay.
So what happened was I was playing Ludwig, you know, enjoying playing Ludwig. We were making a record, and Brad was going deep into drum sounds. And he was.
That's exciting.
He's also really a guy who likes to tinker, and and he tinkered with every aspect of recording. And then finally, after record number 12, he decided to go deep into drums. And what we were noticing as we started the record, this was 3 records ago. They started. I was using the Legacy Classics, which are modeled after the old Ludwig drums, and I like Ambassadors on there, and just ringy, you know, open.
Big.
Well, our music is sonically very dense, right? There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of guitars. There's a lot of vocals. He paints with a lot of color, right? Sonically, and there just wasn't a lot of room in the music and frequency wise for the drums to also have a lot of ring.
Right.
So they were having to turn up the overheads and trying to get the toms to speak and all this stuff. So he started going down the YouTube rabbit hole and found like old Steve Gadd stuff. And he started going down, which was Yamaha Recording Custom.
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, okay, I like that sound. And that's a great. And at the time, I had switched over to Pearl,
right?
Because, at the time, no one knew what was going on with Ludwig. They were having some changes of the guard, and it was hard to.
Yeah, it was a big mystery for a while there. Yeah.
So I felt a little left hanging for a few months, and not like in a. There wasn't animosity, but it was just like, all right, I don't know what's going. So I guess I was sort of ripe for the picking at that time because I felt like things were uncertain, and Pearl was local, and I liked that. And they had a media at the time. I was filming a lot of videos, and they have a whole media center. And I was like, wow, here's an opportunity to not only play the drums, but also to make videos and things like that. And so I did that. But right about that time, Brad he was like, what would be cool is these Yamahas and, the long lugs, the longer lugs. He's like, that's got to have something to do with the sound. And so he just bought a kit for the studio. Right. He's just like, well, I'm going to buy a set of Yamahas for the studio because it's at his house.
Yeah.
And so we finished the record with Yamahas, and sure enough, those tight, punchy drums sounded amazing, right?
Mhm.
So then he kept going, well, why don't you play him live? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm with Pearl, and
Yeah.
and he understood. He's like, all right, but every now and then
Oh yeah.
he'd kind of hit me in the ribs and go, well, what, you could play Yamaha, kind of joking, but
Right.
what got to
Yeah.
the point where he was asking about it so much that, and he's not the kind of guy that would ever make a demand. That's not,
Right.
but he's my friend, and as a friend, I want to make him happy. And
Yeah.
it's something he wanted. And if a friend of mine really, really wants something, I don't, at some point, I want them to have it too. So I said, all right. And then he bought the road kit. He bought another kit. We found a vintage kit. And so for a while I played just recording, had no sponsor,
Right.
which was fine at the time. I was like, oh, hey, no sponsor. Okay, cool. Play that.
Yeah. Free agent. Try everything. Yeah.
And then of course Sakai, who was making the Yamaha shells, kind of came into the picture, and we did like a loaner kit where I wasn't able to really bring them on the road, but I had them in the studio at home, my studio. And I never could quite get Brad to want them live, because the recording customs, even though they were the same shells, nothing compared to those things. So anyway, Sakai went out of business, and I was like, hey man, I'd really like to get back with Ludwig. You care? And he's like, man, I don't care. Yeah. And so what I did was I got a Ludwig kit with mock lugs.
Right.
And so they're tight. And now we still have the recording customs in the studio. That's his thing. He wants that. So you know what I mean? And
yeah, for sure.
So that's sorry to take up so much time, but it's not an easy question.
No. This is what it's all about. This is stuff that people are curious about. This is not taking up time at all. This is where it is.
About it, when I'm telling it, I'm sort of like, this is really going on,
No, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. All right, cool.
So concert toms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So is that kind of the crossover point where it's like classic sound that he wanted from the Yamaha idea?
Yes.
And this is like, you're kind of like, well, let's try this.
Well, for years.
Is that how that happened?
Listen, for years though, another discussion we would talk about would be like Phil Collins and even like Alex Van Halen, from the early records.
Of course the Van Halen thing would come up. Of course.
It would come up. And by the way, just so people know, this conversation happened long before concert toms kind of came back into vogue.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they only came back recently, I think.
We made a recording with concert toms. Let's see. Well, we made them with he wanted that sound on the album called Fifth Gear, which was 2007. And we didn't have concert toms, but we had rototoms, which gave him that 1984 Van Halen.
Yeah.
So we put those in the studio. So we've been talking about this kind of sound for a long time.
Yeah.
And I just, with last year, the year before, no, it was last year, I was like, let's finally do the concert tom thing, man. And he was like, yeah, great. And I'm so happy. I love how I don't know. It's a different kind of attitude,
yeah, it's totally different. Did you find it's changed your playing too? Like your approach?
No, not overall. It didn't change. There's a little bit of an attitude shift sometimes. Now sometimes I'm playing fills exactly as I'd play them if they were regular drums, but there are other times where it's just like a temporary like character you get into.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I'm going to be Neil Peart for a second, or Phil, or I'm just going to do, and then you're back into whatever you do. It's just like little masks you wear, right?
That's cool. Yeah. And there'll be like a few people out there that are like, I see what you're doing.
Right.
That's one of those things that the actual dudes that are players that are fans are gonna watch that and go, yeah, I can see that lick. I know what you're doing, and that's awesome.
They know what I'm
that's almost like a little gift to the people that are like, education's not the right thing, but experienced maybe is a better
Well,
word.
for me, it's a gift to my childhood self.
Oh yeah, are you kidding? Yeah, Van Halen.
You know,
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's it's appeasing that person that was fascinated with all those records. And so in a way, so it's definitely, I'm happy that other people, if they can pick out those kinds of things, but for me it's a gift to my younger self, you know, if
yeah,
more immediately,
that's cool. Yeah.
you know not to be selfish about it, but
So should we like you want to make a gentleman's bet and see if we can determine whether Van Halen will do a original lineup reunion this year?
we can't, well, they did
You've
that.
heard all the rumors, right? There's been like tons of rumors about it.
Right.
What do you think?
I I think it's cool. I mean, we just had that not too long ago, like what, 3 years ago?
Yeah, but without Mark Anthony though.
That's true, right?
Yeah,
Oh, the
original
rumors were
lineup.
with Mike Anthony.
Original. Yeah, yeah, like going to like 1984 lineup.
Oh, okay. I haven't followed that.
Yeah, there was a rumor. Geez, it came out just after New Year's, and then there was several kind of leak posts.
Yeah, yeah.
And one person was in the band saying, "Yeah, this is gonna happen." Another person's like, "Oh, I don't know."
Right,
And then another person would say, "Oh, yeah, it's gonna happen." And then somebody else would be like, "No." And they went back and forth
right.
between all of them, except for Eddie's son. They didn't talk to him, so maybe they should have talked to him. He'd probably be able to tell you right off the top because he probably doesn't play the games that everybody else is playing.
Right.
But
Well, I mean,
yeah,
you know, I,
I don't know.
it's hard for me to speculate. I, I'm still waiting for them to. I'm still trying to figure out what the rumor is of when the next season of Rick and Morty is going to come out. That's what's like the most important rumor in my rumor mill right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
That's
don't
where my
follow
head's
that one.
at.
I've seen it a couple times, but I haven't followed it too heavily.
Oh
Has
man.
it been a long time since they put out an episode?
Yes, yes. And it's the show that I'm addicted to, and I can't watch them anymore because I've seen each episode 30 times. I can't squeeze any more life out of it.
You can almost recite them.
Oh, I can recite. Yes. Goodness. So, again, that's where my rumor mind is at right now, if I'm being honest, Uh,
I never would have pegged you as a fan of that.
oh man, it's right up my alley. Yeah. Yeah,
What is it about the writing? Is it
I don't
super
know.
witty?
It's kind of, it's all over the place. It's brilliant. It's smart. It's irreverent. It's dark, but it's also tells, there's truth to it. It's just, and the parodies, and it's it's just completely bizarre. And I just think it's brilliant, and there's depth. And I don't know, it tickles me. Some part of it I can't even answer to, like why. It's just, it just fits that spot.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
definitely gonna have to check it out.
Yeah.
That's the recommendation of the day, I guess.
Yeah.
Eh?
Some people hate it. We probably lost a couple followers, right? Right? It's a
like, what?
it's a polarizing show. So yeah.
That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, tell us about doing that Seth Meyers gig.
Oh yeah. Tell you about it.
That was pretty awesome.
It was fun. Boy, I had a great time. That was what a blast. It was that we had been talking about doing it for a year. So I was up there with Brad doing the Seth show. We were performing, and then Eric Lederman, the producer, comes up. He goes, "Hey man, we'd love." And by the way, that day Fred Armisen was the drummer. He was there. And we talked.
Awesome.
We talked for a little bit, and then Eric was like, "Yeah, you come do the show, right?" And so it took a year, but they had me on. They flew me up, and it was fun, and it was easy. Their workflow is very chill, laid back. I've never met a more laid back bunch of people, and and that we just go into a room. You know, what we're doing is, and for the lay folk out there, we do bumpers. And a bumper is, you know, a segment of music that cuts to a commercial, or a segment of music that cuts to the introduction of a guest. So that's
Like old school style.
right. It's like,
yeah, hosting TV show type thing.
like, ladies and gentlemen, so and so, and then you play a bumper, and then you have to
Yeah.
time it so that when the guest's ass hits the seat, you stop, right? You know, and luckily with Brad, we've done a lot of stuff like that over the years, so it was easy.
Yeah.
Apparently, so we were talking, you know, we were dishing about all the guests, and what I found out was that, you know, a lot of these drummers who are great drummers who don't have as much just TV experience found it more difficult because, you know, they didn't quite understand the timing.
They didn't understand the concept.
It took a few tries for them to like stop
Mhm.
when they were supposed to. And because, man, you got to stop on off beats. Like, you know, you can't just, everything doesn't resolve on one like you want it to, right? When they cut you
Yeah.
off, wherever you are in the phrase, you're done.
Just
You know, and you think that's easy, but holy, you know, that was a,
yeah, it would be hard.
right, you know.
And it's only, you only get one chance, right? It's only one. Is it
Kinda.
like a live taping?
No, it's pre-taped that day. They can do it again, but they'd sure rather not.
Yeah.
You know, they can't.
Well, I guess the rest of the band's probably used to not probably
Yeah.
doing it more than once.
And what a great bunch of people. Goodness. You know, that was a great experience. I can't say enough about it. Like, what a highlight. You know?
It seems like it's a new benchmark kind of idea. Like if you're going to be, if you're a well-known drummer or a drummer that's established, suddenly you're the next guest on there. So that's what I've noticed over a little while. I mean, Todd Zuckerman did it.
Yeah.
Tucker Rule did it.
Yeah.
And yeah, just cool.
Well,
very cool.
Eric is a drummer, the producer who basically calls you to do it. He's a drum fanatic and a pretty good drummer himself, right? And
right.
And he's just a cool dude. He's just a music fan. You know, he's one of these kind of encyclopedia guys where he knows a lot of he's just a big fan of music, and he's a drummer. So, and he's got his finger on the pulse, you know. So if you go in there, they have a room that's sort of their wall of fame, and it's covered with photos and people. And so, yeah, I was honored to be on that wall with some of those people. Like, wow, really? You know?
That's cool.
That's
cool.
I had to take a knee, you know, for a moment when I saw that, right? You know?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Very humbling.
That's one of those things for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm as soon as I saw them starting to do that kind of thing, I was like, obviously being a fan of music and drums right away, I was just like, this is cool. This is different. And then having watched a couple segments, like I tuned into Todd's as well because he's a pal.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the focus on the drummer, it's so fast, like it's short segments,
which is perfect.
But the fact that the focus is on the drummer as the guest is like,
yeah,
that's awesome.
What a cool
that's
thing
so
to
awesome.
Do. Well, and it's
about time we got some recognition, you know.
But if you look, it makes sense because it was a creative way to pivot into a problem-solving situation where it's like, okay, it's Fred's gig. Right?
Right.
It's Fred's gig. Well, but Fred's busy. He's off creating shows and things like that. So that takes him off of the gig, but it's his gig. So how do we rectify that situation? Oh, I know. We'll call people to sub, right? Every week we'll turn it into an event. And again, the workflow is easy enough to where it's not like you're having to learn you're having to learn their intro, their show intro, which is easy. But the rest of it, you're writing it you're creating in real time.
Yeah, it's on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, or you go into a room earlier that day, someone comes up with a riff, and you play with it. He hits record, and then as you're taping the show, they play it for you in your ears
Right.
as a reminder.
So it's fresh.
It's just like an
Yeah,
A/B section, and it just works.
Yeah.
You know.
That's awesome.
What a great thing they've got. Yeah, I can't speak enough about how cool that is. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they use the house kit there too, right? Everybody, it's not a sponsor event where your sponsors are supplying a kit. It's just the house kit.
It's a house kit.
So you're just focused on that's it.
Yeah, you can use, and to make things fair across the board. Yeah, there's no logos. It's a Tama kit.
Yeah, I saw that. yeah. I was bugging Todd about that right off the top. I was like, that doesn't look like a pearl.
But it's okay because it's the same across the board, right?
Oh yeah. They're not. It's not like it's a giant logo and it's like flashing and going, this is what you're using now.
Right. But just so I had a Black Beauty up there. That was my snare.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you're able to bring your own stuff like that, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they absolutely should do that kind of thing where you're allowed to bring that's your main voice. Yeah, so of course you should be allowed to use the snare that you like,
Well, it wasn't so much, it was a backline snare.
Right.
But it's a Black Beauty.
But you got to choose it out of a series of backline snares, or what? Like there was only one?
No, it was no, I mean there was like maybe another drum too as a backup, like 2 drums.
Right. Yeah.
And I chose the Black Beauty. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's a classic drum.
Yeah, that's
a classic drum.
There's certain drums you can't go wrong with. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be from my personal collection.
Right.
I can play. I mean, listen. At this point, I could play pots and pans, and we'll make it work. We'll make.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the ticket, right?
Yeah.
It's never the gear. It's the player.
Yeah.
It's never the car. It's the driver.
Yeah. Your sound is really here. I'm finding anymore as I get older. It's your touch, and that has a lot.
And your personality comes through on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I never worried about like if it's my gear or if it's someone else's, if it's this or it's just I just a lot of guys get bent out of shape about what? Give me good hardware. I almost like just that's what we need to get like stuff to hold it upright. You give me that tom arm where the nuts stripped out or the snare stand won't stay where it is or the hi-hats rocking all over. Like just give me good hardware and then we're fine.
Totally.
Anything.
Do you find that you're like when you're doing flying gigs, do you find that your rider is usually pretty like to a T, or do you find it varies quite a bit?
No, it's somewhere in between. It's mostly to a T with certain variations, but again, you can always listen. Not all these supply houses have everything, and I know that going into it. So
yeah, totally.
It's fun. It's cool. Again, as long as the hardware. And sometimes it's been like, hey guys, do you have an extra throne? Because this one's like all over the place. I've had more of that issue than whether they got the right drums. Again, whatever the drums are, the drums are.
So when you're like when you're doing fly-in gigs, like do you have like a cache that you always bring? Like there's like I have to have this.
Yeah.
That's my fly-in gig.
Yeah, we have
tell us about that.
It's a fly rig. So it's
okay.
It just contains like obviously sticks, ear monitors. It's funny. I haven't looked. My tech Rob knows more intimately about what's in there because I'm guessing, and Rob might be listening, so he could tell me if I get anything wrong. We have the ear rig, or whatever that entails. Probably cymbal felts, a hi-hat clutch. An extra click track, right? We use the Alesis XR16. Maybe there's a pedal. I feel like there should be a pedal in there. And that's pretty much it. Moon gel.
Mm-hmm.
moon gel, gaff tape, drum keys, clutch. Yeah,
Yep.
maybe I don't know, beef jerky.
Beef jerky.
Yeah, marbles.
But not vegan beef jerky?
What's that?
Not vegan beef jerky?
I like vegan.
Have you tried that?
I like all beef jerky, and that includes the vegan. I love it. Yeah, I'll eat vegan beef jerky. I got no problem. Oh, geez, yeah. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool.
All right, what else you got?
What's and you what drumhead company do you use? Like,
Remo.
what's your favorite for that? Remo?
Oh yeah. Are there any other head companies?
I'm with Remo as well. I'm gonna say no.
Okay, I've never heard of any if there are.
No, I don't think there is.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
safe bet. Safe bet.
Yeah, it's
So Ambassador, that your go-to for studio, you were saying earlier.
well, again, if
or
I'm
you
doing
like change it up.
if I'm playing Emperors more now,
Right.
but it depends. My first love is Ambassadors, but I understand. I'm starting to enjoy Emperors more now that I'm recording more, and especially out of my house.
Right.
You know. So.
Have you tried the Ambassador X's?
Yeah, on snare drums. Oh
yeah.
I've tried them on toms too. Yeah, they're pretty good. Yep.
Oh yeah, I love them on toms. I just find that they give you that single ply beauty that you get from the Ambassadors, but they last longer.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
They're a little bit heavier, a little bit tubbier, but they're not as tubby as the 2-ply, right? Like getting into an Emperor.
Yeah.
That's what I find.
When we had the recording customs, it was pinstripes, that's the sound.
Yeah, well that's that 70s tubby beefy sound, right?
But they ring too. I mean, I don't know, they sound, oh man. They sound good. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to reminisce too. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, Yamaha's going to call your number right away and go, oh, hey. Oh.
That's all right. Well, they can give Brad another kit for his studio since he's got.
There you go.
He's got.
It'd be like the ghost drummer thing.
He's got the man crush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when's your next road gig? Like when are you on the road again?
Next week we have couple one-offs in. I don't know the nature of the gigs, but they're not yet part of the tour. The tour starts in May, but we're in Nevada somewhere.
Nice.
I sort of haven't looked yet. I know it's Nevada.
It's one of those things where you'll figure it out the day before.
Oh yeah. You're a chronic procrastinator. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So are you doing any like when you're home on this stretch, like has it been nothing but painting, or are you playing at all, or are you just like basically taking a holiday from it?
Oh, all of the above. I mean, I only recently started painting.
Right.
Paintings like we're talking within 2 weeks.
It's only been 2 weeks?
Yeah. I'm not, yeah. Painting's only been.
And you got people lining up for commissions already.
I don't even know. I don't know what to do with that. That embarrasses me, and I'm flattered, but I don't know what to say. I don't know what to, because I like the paintings too. I don't necessarily want to get rid of those. But I guess I could make more for somebody, but I don't know. I don't know what to charge.
Each one's an original.
I know.
I mean, can you duplicate them? You can't duplicate them unless you're gonna make prints.
No. They're all gonna be a little different. But these are my test. The paintings I've been showing those are the test. Those are my experiments. Like, it's gonna be like wait the paintings that come out like a year from now.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm waiting for.
Those are gonna be the big money ones.
Or just or the whatever. Yeah. Am I blushing? I feel like this thought of selling them is just embarrassing me.
I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome
too. But I don't know where.
Man, you might find like another as Kevin Murphy always says, another side hustle.
Side hustle. Side hustle.
You're gonna need a side hustle.
It is a side hustle. Jeez. He can put words together like nobody. He should sell his.
I love his rants so much.
Oh yeah.
I love his rants so much.
Yeah.
He was up here on the Burning Man tour, and I was doing the production assistant stuff. And so we got a chance to hang out with him and Will is tech as well.
Oh yeah.
And that rig is awesome.
Yeah.
And again, it's the same color as what you're rocking, the red sparkle.
Yeah, well, it's he's only
you
human.
had it first.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm trying to get him on the show.
Yep.
He's always like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So one of these days I'll get him on the show.
Yeah, it's I can't just keep knocking on his door. He'll he's.
Oh yeah, I'll keep reminding him.
Some of it is just like we get home and wanting to just.
Oh yeah, you want to turn off
fully. But just keep. He'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
It's a very.
Totally.
I'll report back and I'll tell him what an enjoyable experience
So all we did was talk crap about him.
Yeah.
And then he'll want to get on just for that to get back at you.
Started talking shit about Kevin. Goodness.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
Darling human being.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolute
gentleman. Absolute gentleman. Especially with Will as well. And Will's a great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
If you like that kind of thing, yeah. Just kidding.
Yeah. You're doing the zoom in there.
I don't know. That's my
new technique.
That lets you know that I'm being funny, I suppose, because it's funny, right?
That's for the comedic effect.
Mm-hmm. Seems funny to me,
It's like a video headbutt.
Right. Or a fist bump, which,
There you go. Fist bump. Yeah, we can do the fist bump.
Bro.
So true.
Yeah.
So what else is going on? Like anything else going on? Like you guys were getting pretty close to flooding.
Oh, boy.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I got I got a property on the river. I'm literally on the river where most of I don't know if you can see the river.
Look at that.
What's that?
There's the river.
Yeah. And
so
it came up
was your place
high.
flooded in the original flood?
What's that?
Was it flooded? What was that?
No.
2000 whatever?
No, it didn't.
No.
I didn't live here then, but by all reports say that the water came up very close to the house. But
right.
I mean, without getting too detailed, I was managing some erosion issues down by the patio there, where some of the land had literally fallen into the river. So the property.
That's kind of scary.
Well, and that's not only that, but it's like, I've literally lost property due to the erosion. So it's a little scary just because it's like, oh, there was land here. Now there's just a huge hole, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
does that make your property value go up because there's less of it?
Well, no, I think. Well, who knows? It's. I'm talking to the Army Corps of Engineers, and it's in their interest to like try to save it from falling.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, not to get way off topic and talk about, but yes, that if you're asking me what I've been dealing with, that's been a big player.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that previous flood, I was working for Brooks and Dunn, and from my understanding, they were the only people that were out on the road. Everybody else had their trucks in the compounds.
Yep.
So everybody got affected in some sort of way.
Yep.
In some sort of degree, right?
Yeah,
so,
we lost a bunch of stuff.
Big one.
Brad lost a bunch of guitars.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to salvage some stuff and dry it out and rebuild them. I lost some drums, but for a lot of the people I know, there was insurance, and if you didn't have your precious one of a kind stuff out in the road, which you kind of shouldn't, right?
It's kind of.
It was just a matter of replacing gear, through insurance.
Yeah.
So, but some people did lose. I know our video company lost a couple million worth of stuff, and I don't know that insurance covered all that, right? So there were all kinds of stories like that. Was a tough time, 2010. That was a,
Yeah,
that was a
I
lot
think
of.
that was the beginning of the really severe downturn in the economy too. So, I mean, the MI world, like the musical instrument sales world, had been going down for quite a while,
Right,
leading up to 2010,
right,
and I really noticed it because at the time I was managing a drum shop here, and you go down to the NAMM show, and leading up to 2010, nobody would talk to you because you're Canadian because your dollar is not worth anything.
oh, isn't
And
yours
then
worth more than ours now?
no, we're lower
Oh, are
now,
you
but
lower? Gosh,
at this time it was almost at par.
right,
And once they realized that most of the marketplace in the States was starting to get really hard up, and companies were closing, shops were closing,
right,
the Canadian environment hadn't changed very much yet.
gotcha.
So suddenly they were really interested in talking to the Canadian guys. So it kind of flipped over for a little while, but now it's back to the same as it was before.
Right, interesting.
Well, when you really do the actual math and geographically speaking, it's crazy. Um, if you were to take all of the musical instrument sales in Canada, add them up, they would still not equate the New York and central kind of California combined.
Right,
The whole country doesn't add up to that.
right, of course. Yeah, yeah.
So that's because of, as you know, after driving a million hours in Canada, there's not many of us up here,
No,
really, when it comes down to it.
it's a small population. Well, there's something good about that too. Your
Oh
society
yeah,
isn't as populated, and there's more resources to go around. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We're very populated here, so it's hard for everyone to enjoy this same slice of pie. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, totally.
we have 350 million people. You're right. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
in a kind of a smaller land mass. Of course, most of your
yeah,
land mass is frozen, so
yeah.
it's
The crime rate's really well because of that. We don't have much for crime in the middle of winter when
right.
it's
Of course.
-30.
Well, it's too cold. Who wants to rob anybody in that cold?
I don't know. It just doesn't work.
I don't want to go out and rob
It's
anyone.
too cold to steal a car.
Yeah, goodness. Unless you had a
So
remote
true.
start.
Yeah, a remote start. You got the key remote start, and you're just going around hitting the button until it clicks.
Yeah.
But then you got to wait for it to warm up.
Yep.
It's not like it's going to be ready to go.
Yeah.
So you're still sitting there, and then you're caught.
Right. Right.
So either way, you're kind of screwed.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
when you're playing up in Canada, like, do you guys ever do like do you ever do one-off like lessons and stuff like that when you're coming through when you're on tour?
It's
Like
hard.
masterclass type things?
No, it's hard because I know guys do that. Our schedule's different. Maybe what the sound check that we have is like right in the middle of the day,
Yeah.
and it's hard for me. I don't really have a means to travel. I don't know where I am, and I used to do clinics. I dabbled in that, and that was fun for me, but it was nerve-wracking. The thought of trying to get, also our sound check varies. It's not always 3 p.m. Sometimes it's 2. Sometimes we don't do it. And there's,
Right.
I don't know on any given day what that's going to be. So it's
Right.
hard for me to schedule things not knowing exactly when I have to be back. And it's right in the middle of the day. So, and then trying to find transportation to do all that. It's and then you could say, well, I could do lessons at the venue, but they're setting up.
That's kind of dicey too, though. I don't know if I wouldn't recommend doing lessons at a venue.
Yeah,
It'd be kind of hard to do.
What I could do is maybe like a question answer thing where we get a couple guys to come in, somehow figure out a way to carpool into the venue, and there's time that we could talk. We could
yeah, like a hangout, more like a hangout.
I would definitely be up for that.
Yeah, those kind of things are really cool.
And
They're definitely community builders for
I
sure.
feel like I have more information to give in that regard anyway than just sitting there playing. Like I could, I'm more philosophical anyway in my approach.
Yeah,
Because learning how to play isn't something I can. Takes a lot of one-on-one time to get someone's playing in a direction, and then even then, when I'm teaching, I try to make sure we're going the direction that the student's feeling, not just what I'm feeling.
right.
I try not to inhibit that natural direction, and I don't believe in like prescriptive type teaching where it's like, here, here's this curriculum and just go home and learn it and don't question it because it's good for you. Trust me. I call that prescriptive teaching.
Yeah,
Where
like almost like it turns into less about wanting to learn how to play drums and more about the philosophy of it, or
no, it just
the
becomes
like.
more about exercises. Like it's
Mhm.
kind of like they did in school, at Berkeley, where it was like it
Right.
was a very cookie cutter curriculum because they had 400 drummers or whatever. So it was like, okay,
Mhm.
everybody, here's what you're doing, and it wasn't very customized, right? And I'm not
Right,
saying there's
right.
anything wrong with that, but I'm describing this prescriptive. It's like a prescription. Here, son, take your medicine, and just trust me, it's good for you.
Yeah.
Whereas, so when I'm teaching, I try to work more in a customized fashion. So what does this person really need? Where are the gaps? Where are the things? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What can we leverage to take it into a direction where not even that I feel better about it, but the student feels like they're playing, in the role of their best selves, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I can't even I'm not even the judge of that. I can tell you what I hear. I can go, okay, that seems, metronomically that's off, or this sounds like it has no inflection. I'm
Mhm.
not feeling any passion or a story here. I can give those kind of criticisms, and I can talk about what that really means and stuff like that. That's where I'm at. That's kind of how my
Yeah.
teaching philosophy is. And then if there is a weakness, I can go, okay, here's a prescription for that particular weakness, and here's
So
why I'm doing that. And so, I'm always about the
when
why.
you're teaching, are you like getting the person to play and watch
Of
them,
course.
and then kind of almost not tear apart, but examine how they're playing and then adjust their approach, or how do you
Absolutely.
usually do that?
Absolutely. But first, we talk. First, we talk about
Mhm.
what kind of player do you want to be? What
What's the goal?
what's your yeah? Who do you um who are your heroes? And here's the main question: like, what got you into playing in the first place? Because I like to connect that fan experience.
Yeah.
So we're not just so for me, my story is I was a fan of music way before I was a fan of drumming. And
Right.
the way it worked was I loved music so much as a kid that it wasn't enough for me to just listen to it. I had to be inside of it. I had to be
Mhm.
making it. I had to so the drummer was born out of the fan. And
Right.
by the way, fan short for fanatic, right? So that's what I was, a complete music fanatic, and then drumming was born from that. And so, but some people are just, they don't really know why. Nowadays, there's been a paradigm shift.
Mhm.
And this is where Kevin Murphy could take over. But I'll be judicious about it. We're in a time where I think people are more enamored with, uh, a lot of the people that are coming to me, they don't know why. They just know drumming's
Mhm.
cool. And, they don't know what kind of music
Oh.
they want to make. They just want to be seen, or they want to make cool videos, and I'm getting a lot of that
Yeah.
kind of thing, and I don't know what to say about that, because I'm the wrong guy to come to, because I've always wanted to be in a band, right,
Yeah.
and playing. I don't care for drumming's sake. I want to be the fourth or fifth member of a band making good music, and that's the only
As a
thing.
collective,
That's the only thing I can teach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what
That makes sense.
the
That does
trials
make
and
sense.
tribulations of that endeavor, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a different thing. So, but definitely before we get into even the playing, it's what's your purpose, what's your how, what's your why, what got you into playing. And there's no wrong answer. I always say that. Like there's no shame. If you're just like, look, I just like drums. I just want to play hot licks on YouTube. I want to learn how to just like be crazy and musical and flash. Like I never shame that. It's fine.
No, yeah. Everybody's got their thing, yeah.
Right. And so I might just recommend someone else just because I don't think that's where my strength is, right? But don't get me wrong. I like to play things. I'm not over here claiming to be a minimalist, or you know, but I try to have a musical purpose for it. And sometimes, like you would put up the time warp thing. Sometimes the purpose is to be distasteful, you know, and irreverent and on purpose.
Like all the way up.
Well, that's what was going through our minds when Brad came up with that. He's like, okay, here's what I want to do. I just want to do something that's an instrumental that's completely distasteful and ridiculously fast for no good reason. And let's just go crazy and see what happens. Just let's be filthy. And
yeah. The jazz breakdown in that song that happens every single time, it cracks me up because it's like it's so like
right
off the other side, the jazz.
Yeah.
And then again, you know?
Yeah. So I get it. So sometimes the purpose is that, right? Is always something that may seem a little less noble, right? But I think as long as there is a purpose, then it has an element of nobility. Because, you know, that's what art is. To me, art is just saying something, having an intent, and conveying that intent in some medium. And sometimes it's ugly, right? And that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it doesn't always have to be precious or pretty.
Have you ever been hired strictly for image?
No.
You ever been in that position before? You know, like
look at his face. Come on, man.
You know, like you look like you're the perfect fit for this band.
I've never even been hired.
Never been in that position?
I've never been in that position just for friends or dating, let alone in the music. Are you kidding me? Look, you know, if I had to
I don't understand that.
If I had to go on looks, kidding me?
It looks good on paper, but I think that's about it. Maybe even there, it's like
maybe
that's
like
stupid.
litmus paper. You know, I don't know.
Absolutely. That's exactly how I feel about it. It's just one of those questions, you know, I had to ask.
Yeah.
Just had to ask.
That's funny.
Because that does happen, and it happens a lot. I've seen a lot of that recently. I would say in the last 10 years, I've seen a lot of those type of things where, you know, if given A or given B, but and the playing similar, but this guy looks like, you know, I don't understand that personally. It should be just down to the playing, but of course everybody listens with their eyes as well.
You're opening a whole bag, man. you're...
It's a little late in the game to be opening a huge bag like this.
We could have done a whole podcast just on this, just so you know. I mean,
this is one I'm going to take up with Kevin. I know he's got he's got some input on that.
And it has to do, and maybe I can cliff note it. You know, it has to do with the devaluation of music, and by the way, the fan experience has changed. People listen different. And it has to do with the dissolution of the thing we call an album, which is a collection of songs, which is a product that you used to hold on to. and you didn't have all the media that you have today. So music had a different kind of value, where the fan experience was a much more intimate and romantic experience. And all you had were the sounds. It wasn't about so much what everyone looked like, because there wasn't any media, because all you had was maybe, the pictures inside the album, and occasionally you saw what they looked like in Circus magazine.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, there's two sides of that. There's the video killed the radio star idea,
I'm talking before
and then
that.
there's the Wrecking Crew idea.
I'm talking about before even MTV, because
oh yeah,
I was
totally.
a fan of music for 10 years of my life before even MTV came around, So
absolutely.
And by the way, I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I'm not even putting a judgment on it. I'm just saying this is what it is. And this is because we've gotten away from that intimate product called the album. And all you had was that album. It created a romance between the fan and the band that had much deeper roots, because you got that album and that's all you got. And you had to listen to the 10 songs. And by the way, you spent your hard-earned money on it. So it's like if you delivered papers to save up for the next Tom Petty record, well, you knew that value because you worked for it. And then at the end of 2 weeks, you got to go buy the record. And so the fan, you felt things so much, deeper. Whereas now, since we've blown the album apart, and sort of now music is sort of in fractals, and there's millions of songs and at our fingertips. It's the experience is different, not only for the musicians but the kids growing up as fans. And I'll say this: I mean, it's also a renaissance in some degree, in some way, because there's more music than there ever was, right?
The accessibility part, absolutely.
So it's good in terms of the abundance, but I'm just speaking to, what it's opened the door for, though, is this other experience where, especially in popular music, that's really what I'm speaking to. In popular music, where that devaluation of the actual sounds, where sonically and lyrically, and that's a little, taking kind of a back seat to the video image of it, because it's important that everybody's so hot. It's you gotta.
That seems to be the thing. Hot, everything's got to be.
See, I never
flashy
cared. I'm like,
hot.
Give me ugly people, and I'm just, to this day, like, I just don't care how hot you are if you're playing music. I don't. That's not what I'm. Is the music hot, right? The people, I don't. I'm not looking for my artists to be models.
No,
I'm not even looking for models to be models. I just.
Music was designed for us ugly guys,
right,
to get a leg up.
But it is cool. Listen, nothing against hotness. Listen, if you happen to be hot and you're making cool music, don't.
Yeah, no, but you still got to be making cool music. You can't just be, riding on that. It's
all
got to be
about
some substance there.
And I understand that, it certainly helps if you're good looking to sell something, and it's been that way since the beginning of time. But look how talented Elvis was, man. Elvis was a force of nature. He wasn't just hot. He was, he was a freaking badass, man. It was, and that was what was, I guess, also made him hot too, because he could sing and dance. The dude was all over the place. He wasn't a poser.
It didn't matter if you were seeing him or hearing him. It was the same effect.
That's right, because you can listen to it and still get that visceral effect of his music.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's a different.
Well, they say that you have 30 seconds. The listener now is tuned in for 30 seconds before their focus is gone.
Yeah.
So a lot of bands, I think, are starting to try to write some kind of melody line that is in the first 30 seconds that draws you in right away.
I guess.
Because if you don't have them after that first 30 seconds, you're done.
Yeah.
You're on to the next track.
Yeah. I know. Yes. Yep.
I mean, you don't have that with vinyl records because going to the next track takes 5 minutes to get the needle in the exact spot you want it.
Well, and there was
So
nothing
you don't
else,
want to do that.
there was nothing else pending.
Yeah.
There was,
yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
You put on music to put on music to actually you weren't. I was in my room, just like my purpose was to sit there and wear this album out. I had no other distractions. To water down my attention span, and I wasn't looking to be hit. I also knew this about myself. It takes me a couple listens sometimes. You know, there were albums I'd buy where the first listen was sort of like, oh, I don't know yet, right? Oh, I'm just here.
Yeah. There's always that trepidation.
Right, and then by the third time, I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Wow, this is brilliant. What an idiot I was that first listen to. You know what I mean? It's like, again, we're not as romantically involved in the music, right? And I feel bad for people that. So I'm 48, so I've only been online since I was 30. You know what I'm saying? I've only had a cell phone since I was 30. So a little less than half my life has been on the internet and on cell phones. So I'm really thankful to have that time before that when that fan experience was so rich and
innocent
and I wasn't distracted and I just feel very fortunate for that, and I hope, and I know there's people out there that get it and that are searching for that experience, and they'll find it. I'm certainly not making broad stroke statements about, you know, I'm trying.
No, but it's true though. It is true. Like there's the people that are looking for that are deep. They're forced to dive deeper, and sometimes it's even more rewarding because they have to dive deeper to get that. Instead of having that instant, you know, like put the track on. Oh, it's the new track. Oh, next track. You know.
Yeah.
Getting away from that and really taking the moment to dive into music on a different, almost spiritual level, where you're putting focus into it, mindfulness into what you're listening to, and tearing it apart a little bit differently, closer to what you and I would have had to do, you know, when you're hovering over the radio trying to hit the stop and the start record button to catch that song that you haven't got enough money to go out to the store and buy it, or it's not available in your town.
Right.
You know,
the only thing
that stuff's gone, and it's too bad because I think that's a character builder.
Absolutely. Again, and it makes you fall. You fall. You just feel when that's all you have.
Yeah.
You merge harder with it.
Yeah.
You know, that's all there is to it. You merge deeper when that's all you're being offered. Here's your album. Here's the liner notes. Oh, by the way, you're not going to get anything else from us for 2 more years. So you milk every little bit out of that. You become so absorbed, you know, with whatever that is, and you hope to build your collection, and you do that with all your records because that's all you're getting from music. And you could turn on the radio, but you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that group of songs that we call an album, that collection of songs into a full body of work was so valuable. I don't think people realized how valuable that was, not only to the money side of things, but to the fan experience and our culture in general of people who appreciate art.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's like that's what caused Queen to go in the studio and work on all those crazy harmonies and effects and drum sounds and what any band was going for in the studio. It's like, let's get crazy because we know these people are going to hear this and they're going to they're going to actually hear it, and they're teenagers.
Yeah.
you know, and they're going
And
to
they knew
talk
the
about,
investment, the amount of investment that they would be putting into listening to it,
yeah,
you
they
know,
knew that
because it
whatever
was a different
they
thing.
did was actually going to be heard,
Hmm.
you know,
It's
and it's,
crazy.
so it's different now, right? It's all it has to do is just sound slick. Everything quanti, because we can't tolerate imperfections, right? We can't. It's got to be slick, 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 and
Perfect is
homogenized.
boring.
Yeah,
Perfect is so boring,
yeah,
you know? I would rather see a band flub an intro or an outro or a chorus is too long
right,
than watch it exactly the same as you heard it the night before in another town, whatever. I'd rather hear the little flubs and the nuances, differences, you know?
right.
I mean, obviously, the general public doesn't view it that way because they don't have an appreciation for what it takes to pull out of those situations,
Right.
you know?
Well, again,
Like it does take quite a bit of, that's a huge skill is learning how to clean up a fuck up,
you know it.
you know?
Absolutely.
It's huge. And I don't think, I think the art of appreciating that is now gone.
Well, because you can edit.
Yeah.
Well, before you were
Yeah.
going to 2-inch tape, man. You could, you
You
know,
can do it 20 million times at
yeah,
home and then or in the space and then go to the studio and you better get it right because
yeah,
we only got $400 to make this go,
yeah. You have to,
you know?
you had to play. You had to be able to play.
Yeah.
There's no,
Yeah. In a lot of situations you had to play with everybody at the same time. Like
absolutely,
the Garth Richardson idea where everybody's playing at the same time and they're feeding off each other. And when you don't do that, it's changed.
absolutely.
So
You know, I've played the
that's a huge
2-inch
thing.
tape. I remember. It's a whole,
Hmm.
you know, hey, by the way, there's no punching drums unless it's a real big gap. So get it right, you know. And it was, that was how we did it. And it was like that red light went on and it was like you had to play the whole song start to finish and really
Or
hone
that
it.
crushing feeling on the last hit and you screw it up.
Yeah,
After you've done the whole song, you
yeah.
get that last
Well,
and you
except
know you screwed up and you're already so hard on yourself because it's crushing. It's like, oh my God, we gotta do the whole thing again.
right. Well, and that
It's
made you once or twice of that, and
oh yeah.
you figured your shit out so you didn't screw up. And that's
Yeah,
why.
it's a character builder there too, you know?
But that's where I'm saying these unbelievable chops came from. And by chops, I don't mean speed. I mean ability to play, you know, in this other level that was, you know, mesmerizing. You know, guys like, you
Absolutely.
know, Picaro and, you know,
Yeah.
and J.R. Robinson, these legendary studio guys. It's because these they weren't about to do multiple takes because someone screwed. You know, it didn't take much. Uh, it didn't for me personally. It didn't take too many do-overs before I went. Okay, I need to get on another level. And so
Yeah.
you were forced to adapt. And if you didn't, and here's another thing: if you didn't adapt, there was no one telling you how great you were. It was like, hey, you're not cutting it. So either go figure it out, or we'll do it with somebody else.
Hmm.
Imagine that. You know, you
Hmm.
weren't able to pretend that everything you did was awesome.
Hmm.
Um,
That leads to another question I want to ask
okay.
you. That leads to another question. Um, how you're extremely humble and you're a fantastic player. How do you maintain that when people are telling you that you're amazing?
Because
How
I
how
don't,
do you how do you how do you deflect that so it doesn't get into your head and make it big?
because I know better. Because
Mm,
and by the way, they know better too. Who am I to say if someone got a feeling from it that it
absolutely.
was amazing, that it wasn't amazing for them? I believe that. I can
Hmm.
separate that from my own feeling about it without poo-pooing it. Like, so if I had a bad night and someone said it was amazing, I would just say thank you. And in my mind, if it was amazing, I'll agree, you know, to myself. I'll be like, yeah, it actually was pretty good, you know, but
Yeah.
I'm just, it's not that, because I was raised by people that were very honest. And by raised, I mean not just family, but teachers or friends. We didn't blow smoke
Yeah.
up each other's ass. When it was good, it was good. And when it was not, we were like, we self-reflected. It was like, okay, this wasn't great. So it was, you know, we're all limited. We're not limited, but we're governed by our flaws and our strengths. And it's okay to, like, this is the thing I don't understand about the time we live in. It's okay to look at something and go, okay, that needed work.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't great. And it's okay for me to hear that from someone. And I've been told a lot, not good enough, do it again. And that's not along the ride with the positivity train, I suppose, but those were actually the most positive, kind things anyone ever said to me was, Ben, that's garbage. Because they weren't being mean to me. They loved me.
They were being real.
Yeah, and it was
being
like
real. And
so
yeah,
I
it's
could
so
go, I had the ability to go, okay, this person who I trust, by the way. So always question the source. That's the thing. It's like whether it's praise or criticism, always don't just listen. Praise is like a dopamine rush. Praise is like a hit of a drug. So it's easy to go, oh God, that feels good. They liked it. Well, I've always just had the ability to sort of go, all right, I will allow that if I trust the person where it's coming from.
right.
And if I don't know you, then nothing happens. It's just like, thank you, and I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you felt that it was good. I'll decide whether it was good for me. But I'm also honored that I'm even here and you listen to it. So it's always
Absolutely.
with gratitude. So I would never take that from someone who liked it. And if someone didn't like it, I'm open for that too, by the way. But be respectful. Don't be a dick.
Yeah,
But
I think that's the fine line. That's the
say
fine
something
line.
constructive. I'm cool with that. I don't
Absolutely.
require. I'm putting these paintings out. Like, you know, if someone wants to say something bad about it, just be constructive. Be cool. You know, and that's so. I don't know. You know, I just try to. I've always. And by the way, even our thing with Brad, you know, I've been with Brad for 20 years, and he keeps himself in check. We all keep each other in check. You know, we'll be in the studio.
He's such a real dude. I just love that about him. He's so real.
We'll be in
He's
finish a
real.
performance. There have been times, and especially in the early days, where it was like, all right, listen, I need you to not play that again. And then I just go, and I think about it, because I trust him, so I question the source. And I go, oh, all right, there must be something there. And I'll just self-reflect, do the work. So my feelings don't get hurt, you know, or we'll be in the studio and I'll start the song. First note, he comes in, no. Right? Just, I haven't even played a measure yet. No.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. So, you know, but then afterwards we get it and I'll go upstairs and he'll be like, man, great job.
Yeah.
And I trust him because he's willing to tell me when it's not. And this is something I just so wish I could teach people, and I can't because it's
huge.
It's one person trying to fight a tidal wave of positive affirmation, and positive only being affirmative, because sometimes positive is disguised as criticism, and I'm not going to take that challenge on to the world. I can't.
That's a huge one, man. It's impossible.
I don't understand, you know. I can't speak. You know, because I was, you know, I've got, you know, people couldn't, people ask me, you know, how did you get to where you are playing wise and career wise? And I just think to myself, I don't know that you could stomach what I've done. I don't think you could handle the amount of rejection and criticism, mixed with praise.
Yeah,
you know,
always.
But it was a different time. And people didn't, it wasn't just, oh God, you tried, that's so great. It was like, no, I had a teacher tell me once, literally in front of the class, after it was like an improv performance. He's like, and he just went, okay, that's cool if you never want to leave your garage.
Whoa.
And
Yeah, I had a
I
teacher like that too, man. Same kind of thing. But you know what? Those are valuable moments.
and I was like,
So valuable.
that hurt, but I didn't throw a tantrum. There
Mhm.
wasn't an internet, so I didn't go online. And what I did was I went home and I thought about that as, okay, what part of that is correct? I didn't go, fuck you. I went, okay, that hurts. Let me think about that. Right.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
that's how I process not only criticism, but also praise.
Yeah.
That's the secret. I don't know.
That's huge insight, man. That is.
You know,
It's huge insight. It's so true.
yeah,
So true.
yeah.
Do you have I know whenever I've got a new project going on or whatever, I'll take whatever I'm doing with that project and show it to them, to a friend who I consider like a benchmark,
Mm-hmm.
who I know is not going to say, yeah, that's amazing right off the top. He'll say, well, this is kind of cool, or this part here is awful. Do you have a guy that's your benchmark?
Yeah, there's
Other
people.
than obviously Brad would be one of them.
Well, Brad is the project. He's pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
If
But
now,
even before the Brad thing.
um, anything, I don't really do a whole lot more than that.
Mhm.
No, that's. I mean, I think I've played him some stuff that I did in my home studio. Um, yeah, I can. He is definitely someone I would trust.
Totally.
With I'd be like, hey, can I play you something I did and get your honest. Uh, and he'll absolutely. He's one of the most unbiased people I know. So that's good. Yeah, I have a
Mhm.
few people for sure. Yeah,
I think that's so important. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, in the level that you're at, there's so many people saying yes to everything.
yeah,
And I don't think there's that many people that are actually going to go, you know what? No, let's not do that for various reasons.
yeah,
And I don't think there's lots in that industry when you're getting to the level that you guys are at.
yeah.
There's a lot of yes people because they want to be the person that said yes,
Yes,
or that kind of
literally.
situation.
Yeah,
So
I. That's a
I don't know.
that's a world. That's a world.
It's a huge struggle whenever I'm working shows and I see something like that. And I'm like, why? Why are you saying yes? It
Luckily,
should be
yeah.
no.
It should just be objective, and
Mhm.
I understand where this came from. I understand
Yeah.
that our parents as kids were raised and there was a lack of sensitivity. So a correction needed to happen where kids were maybe emotionally traumatized or abused. There was a time before the whole self-reflection and self-affirmation where
Mhm.
you could say that there was a need for children to be raised a little less neglected
Mhm.
emotionally, and there was definitely a movement or something that needs to happen there, no doubt. But what happened in reality was an overcorrection, as humans will do. We see an injustice, we see a problem, and we become extreme. We go, okay, this is a
Yeah.
problem, let's go way too far in trying to fix it. I think the better movement would have been to try to teach fairness and objectivity when evaluating ourselves. So let's not be
Mhm.
overly negative, or let's not be overly neglectful. Let's be attentive and
Yeah.
actually quit telling your kids, quit telling them they're so great, but just spend time with them. Spend more time, quality time, assessing their strengths and weaknesses, as opposed to just going, "Oh my God, it's so great."
Mhm.
That's to me.
Now, do
That's
you think
just
it's like,
it's
where do you think that stems from? Do you think it stems from
it stems. It's an
maybe a parent that's like so positive about their kid
because they
is
want their
stemming from a
kids to have,
situation where they weren't getting that
they
themselves
want
from
their
their
kids
parents.
to have the things that they didn't have.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
And
Yeah.
it also comes, there was a movement sort of in the self-help genre where there was literally a psychological movement that focused on affirmations, telling yourself that everything you're wonderful, and we are wonderful, right? It's like it's
Yeah,
like, it's not
absolutely.
that we're not wonderful. I just think that is an overcorrect, because again, we're governed by our flaws too.
Mm-hmm.
We're not fully wonderful. At best, we're 50% wonderful and 50% flawed.
Yeah.
Right. And someone, the movement should have been, let's manage our flaws. Let's be a society that's objective and open about our weaknesses, and our strengths.
Absolutely.
Let's not do battle with the dark. Let's bring in the dark and look at it with the light. And
Yeah.
but instead we just went, oh my God, that's bad. I want my kids to. I don't want my again, parents grew up traumatized, had kids, and wanted better things for their kids. So that's understandable, right?
Oh yeah, totally. It totally makes sense why it happened. This is part of the human condition,
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
we overcorrected in this. I
Absolutely.
think. And listen, by the way, I'm sure there's people that disagree, and that's fine. It's just an opinion. I don't
Absolutely.
claim
Yeah.
to know. I'm just going by what I see through, my travels.
Fully.
Yeah.
Fully. Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I got about that.
Well, we opened a huge bag there.
Yeah.
We're like a half hour over the hour.
All right. No
so
worries.
I know you've got stuff you got to get attending to.
I got to go climb.
Like cleaning some paintbrushes and stuff.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing.
Tonight I'm climbing, so I'm putting the paints down.
Climbing.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. So this is the other thing, climbing and painting.
Well, fitness in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Climbing
That's
is
awesome.
part of that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's totally awesome.
Yeah. It's fun.
Well, Ben, I gotta say, man, I'm really happy you were able to make some time and make this happen, man. It really does mean a lot to me. And I know that all the people that have tuned in here do appreciate it fully.
Absolutely.
And it kind of gives us a little bit more of a glimpse into the painter.
I'm just a dude trying stuff out. If there's no, there's nothing particularly noble about it. It's just,
It's real.
Yeah.
And there's not enough real dudes out there.
Yeah.
There's always that facade, and it's refreshing to connect with people that are real.
Well, thank
so
you.
Again, thanks for making time for this, and thanks for being real.
You got it, man. Thank you.
I'm gonna do my sign off now.
All right.
Thanks again, and thanks everybody for checking it out. I'm gonna post it up on YouTube on my channel, and I'll send you a link. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.
You got it, man.
Cheers, brother.
Take care.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thanks.